Hey folks, how are we? Hope everyone's doing great. As you can see, I'm driving again. If you hear that panting noise, that's my boy Hunter over here. Probably can't see him. He's panting. I got the AC on, but he's still panting anyway. Got the twins in the back seat. Headed out to our farm here. Wife will be on her way shortly. I wanted to talk about EFT. What is it? Maybe you've never heard of it. EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques, also known as tapping. You may have seen it. It looks kind of silly. You're tapping on your face and your body and you're making statements. It does seem silly, and the first time I ever tried it, I thought it was incredibly silly. I was super skeptical. So let's talk a little bit about it from my perspective, what EFT is. First of all, EFT is a practice that I'm certified in. I'm a level 2 certified practitioner. I use it daily for myself. I use it with my clients, and it has been transformative for me. Transformative for what, you may ask? Well, it's phenomenal for getting past trauma, letting go of limiting beliefs, things that hold you back in life, certain beliefs you have about yourself, the world, different circumstances, people, situations, events, whatever. It's really good for rewiring those issues. It's great for collapsing issues such as stress, anxiety, painful memories, things like that. It's really good for different health conditions. It's been very helpful for pain. It's helpful for things like fears and phobias, addictions, PTSD. It really is powerful for just about everything. So it's a great therapy, but it's also a form of super learning. It's a way to optimize your mindset, to instill new beliefs that are powerful, like confidence, self-esteem. It's great for getting in touch with your creativity, getting grounded. So there are so many different ways in which EFT or tapping is incredibly powerful for human beings. And that's why I use it. It's one of the primary techniques I use in my coaching practice. And like I said, it's been transformative for me. I've been using it for years. So what in the world is it, and why does it work? So first of all, it is a science-based practice. There are hundreds of peer-reviewed research studies that prove the effectiveness of it. It's been known to work even better and faster and more permanently than traditional therapies like talk therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, things like that. So it is a practice that can give you not only fast results, but immediate relief from different conditions, immediate rewiring of the subconscious mind for new beliefs, new thought, positive thought patterns, things like that, but also for relieving pain, anxiety, stress. It's amazing, and it's typically permanent. EFT has its roots really in kinesiology, acupuncture, and then different forms of therapies, psychology, things like that. So the actual tapping aspect is we are tapping on different meridian endpoints. If you're familiar with acupuncture at all, and we know that acupuncture has been around for thousands of years, it's been very effective for people with all sorts of issues and conditions and health problems. Hunter's being really loud with his panting. I got the AC blasting. It's actually kind of cold in here. These beautiful windy roads we're out in the country here. So with tapping, we're stimulating the endpoints, these meridian endpoints, by tapping, right? We obviously don't use needles, which is nice. And the reason being is, the idea is that all issues, whether it's a physical issue, a mental issue, stress, whatever, has to do with how the energy is flowing through the body. And energy can get stuck, can get into poor energy patterns that just are not conducive to good health. And the result can be a manifestation of a physical condition, a mental condition, whatever, right? That's kind of the gist of it. It might sound woo-woo, but this stuff is really anchored in science. The actual meridians have been proven to exist by injecting dye into these meridian points and being able to see the dye move along these meridian channels, which is pretty cool stuff. So anyway, that's what acupuncture is really rooted in, right? They stimulate these energy points, been around thousands of years. We know how effective it is. EFT takes it a step further. EFT is kind of like this evolved, enhanced superhero cousin of acupuncture, because it takes the stimulation and the benefits of acupuncture without using the needles. And so we use aspects of cognitive behavioral therapy and psychology by stating our intentions, stating the issues, generating the emotions of the issues we're faced with. And there's a whole physiological response that happens when you are doing those types of intentions while tapping. So every time you have a thought, you have an emotion. So think about it. If you have an issue you're working on, right? We're using EFT. We're tapping the points to stimulate these points, right? We're stimulating these energy meridians. Tapping itself is also getting the attention of the subconscious mind, which is hard to influence typically. So this is a form of rewiring, really getting to the root of these different thought patterns and beliefs that exist in the subconscious mind. So we use our words, our thoughts and our words, to state different statements, different phrases. We're generating the emotion and the physiological response of things like stress, anxiety, depression, trauma, or whatever, or even a fear, things like that. And so as we're doing the tapping, we're doing these statements, we're getting the attention of the subconscious mind. There's also neuroclusters at these points. And so we're affecting our neurology. The central nervous system that talks to the brain. And so it's essentially this sexy dance of physiological responses in the ability to collapse and or change the issue, get rid of it, free up that energy flow, instill new beliefs, new thought patterns. And what's amazing about it is that you could be in a state of stress, you could be going through a traumatic experience that happened to you decades ago, it's been affecting you ever since, and literally collapse it because you are working with your physiology by way of the mind, the subconscious mind, the experience that you're dealing with, the stimulation of the meridian endpoints, working with the neurology and the central nervous system. So it's all like this sexy dance, essentially. And that's kind of it in a nutshell. So as you tap and you make these statements, you put out these intentions, you almost relive some of the experience of whatever it might be that's bothering you, or the issue you might have, whether it's pain, whether it's trauma, whether it's anxiety or stress. We work through that and collapse those issues. We reinstill with more empowering issues. Now, sometimes there's very complex, multifaceted issues, especially when you get into trauma, and we don't want to re-traumatize someone. So there's different techniques that we use, different types of tapping we use, different points that we use, different ways of approaching it to really peel the layers of the onion and approach all the different aspects that are affecting the individual. And so in those situations, it takes sometimes multiple sessions working with a coach to really get to the core, to collapse them, and to completely eliminate the negative experience or thoughts or emotions that the individual was dealing with. And you could use it as a form of super learning, empowerment, right? Creating harmony within the mind and the body. That's probably the best way at a high level to explain EFT. If you really want to get into the science of it, there's plenty of research papers out there. There's plenty of scientific explanations about each aspect of tapping. Everything from us, cognitively stating the issues, tapping on the different points, how that's affecting the subconscious mind, the physiology and energy of the body. All the science for that's available. And if you want to get into that, you could certainly look that up. It's available out there. EFTuniverse.com. is a good place. Plenty of research papers out there. PubMed has plenty of research papers that talk about this. Some other good resources you can look into are Dawson Church. He's a PhD. He's done lots of research. He has lots of videos on YouTube. His website is EFT Universe. Research papers on there. Peta Stapleton, another PhD psychologist, has done tons of research in this field. She could really get into the nitty-gritty of science behind this. So hopefully that intrigued you a bit, because it's a very powerful technique. It's easy to learn. You could do a lot of the tapping on your own. I have a lot of videos on my YouTube here where you can go and look them up and tap along with me. If you have very complex issues, things that you're having a hard time working through on your own, then you could always work with a coach. The great thing about a coach is a coach is going to intuitively pick up on things that maybe you're not aware of. The brain is very good at distracting us from deeply seated issues, deeply seated thought patterns and programs, especially things like trauma or things that we just cannot get our mind to consciously become aware of because the brain's good at hiding it from us. Working with a coach can help drum some of that stuff up. But you could do this stuff on your own. I did it on my own for many years before I ever worked with a coach. Once I worked through my certification program and realized in working with other coaches how powerful it is to work with somebody, then I actually hired my own coach that I still work with from time to time. And she was able to drum up things that I just never knew were there because I was avoiding, being present with it. So hopefully that gives you a little insight on EFT. Maybe you want to try it out. Try out one of my videos. Or if you really want to jump in and start to create more greatness, harmony, happiness, health, wealth in your life, then let's work together. You could check out my website, breathtap.com, or feel free to email me, breathtap@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to talk to you more about it. So have yourselves a great day. We'll see you later.